Delicious. Morning, Tom Spellman with Dave Wilson Nursery. It's the first week in March and it's a beautiful day here in the San Joaquin Valley. I'd like to just take a quick walk through the new orchard and discuss bloom times and cross-pollination. We're here in our little Pluot and Plum hedgerow. We've got Splash, Emerald Drop, and Flavor King right here, all blooming simultaneously. I can't tell you how pleased I am. These trees have been in the ground now for just 2 years, exactly 2 years right now, and look at the amount of bloom on these trees. We've kept them small, we've kept the centers open, we've used low nitrogen fertilizer, we haven't pushed the water, we just replenished our mulch layer, and we've encouraged this beautiful flower set. We're going to have an incredible crop of fruit on these trees this year. In fact, I think we're going to have to spend a whole lot more time thinning than we'd really like to, but the flower set is just phenomenal, and I can't be happier. One of the most important considerations for cross-pollination is having like species that bloom at the same time. So here's Flavor Rosa Pluot, and here's Flavor Finale Pluot. This is the earliest variety to ripen up in the series. This is the latest variety to ripen up in the series. And as you can see, although Flavor Rosa's already bloomed out considerably, it still has nice open flower, while the late variety, Flavor Finale, is still in full bloom. So even the latest and the earliest varieties of Pluots are cross-pollinating well together here in the Central Valley. And I think from what I've seen in Southern California, this year the bloom times are in great sequence. I think we're going to get a great crop of fruit everywhere. Now, anybody that doesn't think that fruit trees have ornamental appeal has obviously not looked at some of these varieties very well. Here's a couple of my favorites. This is our Spice Z Nectar Plum. Beautiful pink flowers. The red tipped foliage is just starting to pop out. We're going to get a great fruit set on this. It's a wonderful piece of fruit. Right next to it is our double flowering Saturn peach. And Saturn has got to be one of the most beautiful fruit trees you can grow for spring bloom. It's a big, bright, double pink bloom. It's a nice midsummer freestone yellow peach that ripens up end of July, early August. And both of these trees are just spectacular looking and wonderful fruiting varieties. I just can't get enough of looking at these trees. Here's some of our low-headed varieties. Here's Double Delight Nectarine, just starting to flower out now. Plenty of flower buds up here in the upper structure that are going to be blooming in the next 2 weeks or so. Here's our Braeburn Apple, not quite open yet. Here's another one of my favorites. This is the Cotton Candy Priam, and it's just coming into full bloom right now. We're going to get a great set of fruit on this. And here's that low-cut style Santa Rosa Plum that we've done so much work on to keep small, and we'll keep all of these small. But as you can see, keeping that center open, keeping that wood, aggressive vegetative wood cut down, plenty of blooms down in the center. We're going to have a great crop of fruit on this. Here's our successive ripening 4-in-1 cherry combination. We've got Utah Giant, we've got Sweetheart, which are not really starting to bud swell yet. They're going to be in bloom in another 2 or 3 weeks. But behind here we have Mini Royal and Royal Lee, which are just coming into a nice bloom cycle now. We're going to get a good early fruit crop on these two and a later fruit crop on the two here in the front. Here's our multiple budded Pluots, our 2-in-1 and our 3-in-1. As you can see, again, everything blooming all at the same time. Wonderful cross-pollination. These trees are literally 5 feet apart. We've got 5 varieties here in between the 2 trees. We're getting lots of bee activity. We're going to be thinning like madmen in about another month. I'm really happy this year with our espaliered trees. 2 years in the ground. This is our Burgundy Plum. We've already got a nice 3-tiered structure to it. As you can see, we kept taking the vigor out and encouraging that spur wood, that flowering wood, and we've got a beautiful set on this. Now, this is as ornamental as it gets if you wanted to use this as a structural piece in any kind of a landscape situation. It's a great pollinizer for other varieties, all the Japanese plums and Pluots, and it's a wonderful piece of fruit in itself. I love Burgundy Plum, and I think it's one of the easiest plants there is to structure. You know, another really great point about this Burgundy Plum is standing here next to it, I can really pick up the fragrance. Most deciduous fruit trees don't have a real high perfumey fragrance, but this variety is just incredible. It is probably the most fragrant of any plum or plum hybrid that I've ever experienced. It's just a delightful plant to be around. Quick comment on irrigation. I was just discussing this morning with Mike Tomlinson. We have not irrigated this orchard since the end of September, and it's now the first week in March. So we've gone several months without any irrigation. We've had about 50% of our normal amount of rainfall here in the San Joaquin Valley, and the ground is still moist. So I can scratch down through the mulch, and I've got a nice moist soil consistency down here. We don't need to irrigate right now. So take it easy on the irrigation. The last thing you want to do is over irrigate. I'm getting lots and lots of comments on people that are irrigating once a week or twice a week or every 2 weeks through the winter. You really don't need to do that. These trees are not using any irrigation water through the winter season. They're dormant. They're not picking up anything. So easy on the irrigation. We'll probably irrigate here in the next few days because of the bloom. We don't want to stress this bloom. We want to make sure that we get, you know, a fair amount of nutrient flow through the system and have plenty of water there available so the trees can take it up and not physically stress. But we've gone several months now with no irrigation at all, and we don't need to irrigate today. So keep a check on your soil moisture. If you don't have a moisture meter, make that your next garden investment. 10 bucks will buy you the best moisture meter you can get. Check the soil around the trees in 3 or 4 different spots. If it reads moist or if it reads wet, you don't need to irrigate. When that meter reads down somewhere between moist and dry, get a good thorough irrigation on and let it go back to that point again. More people kill plants by overwatering than any other reason. You don't need to water all the time. Only water when you have to. Get a moisture meter, keep a check on it, have fun. Well, I'm really glad I had this opportunity today to do just a quick walkthrough on these varieties and look at these beautiful blooms, the fragrance, the eye appeal. We're going to get an incredible fruit set this year. A couple of things that we've done over the last few weeks. We remulched our orchard. So we had originally about a 3-inch layer of mulch in here. So we just added about another 3 inches on top of it. Recycled type of green waste material, just a big heavy grind of mulch. We also fertilized. I like to get my first application of fertilizer on as early in the season as I can. So we fertilized about mid-February here, about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And we used a low nitrogen, high phosphorus, high potash, humic acid-based fertilizer with trace elements. So that's going to give us our breakfast. These guys are now taking up nourishment off of that fertilizer, and we used a low nitrogen so that we're not promoting vigor, but we're promoting more and more of this spurwood development and flowerwood development so that we can keep the trees short and manageable and get plenty of fruit year after year after year. My next walkthrough will probably be in about 30 or 45 days, and what we're going to do then is we're going to thin, and I mean we're going to thin like crazy. Most of these trees, if 10% of these blooms set flower, we're going to have 90 times more fruit on this tree than it can hold. So as we start to see flower development and start to see small fruit set, we're going to come into a branch like this, a 12-inch branch like this, or 14-inch branch like this, and we're going to thin down to 1 fruit on that branch. So this may set 20 fruit, and we're going to thin everything off and leave just one nice piece of fruit down here, down where there's structure, where the tree has the ability to hold that fruit. So if you haven't put on your early spring fertilizer yet, get the low nitrogen, high phosphorus, high potash fertilizer on. Take advantage of this beautiful bloom and look at these trees. You could even cut some sprigs and bring them indoors and use these as a flower arrangement in the house. And then as soon as you start to see pea-size to dime-size fruit set, you want to get in and get thinning. And the earliest varieties to ripen are the most important varieties to thin first. So if it ripens up in May or early June or even the 1st of July, those are varieties you want to thin right away. You've got a little more time on the later summer varieties, but make sure that those early season varieties get thinned and thinned heavy.